In 1 week, Disney's Snow White comes out in theaters, and they're just at a loss for everything that ZeggyWeggy has done. And this actually comes from an insider that works with the PR team of Disney. They're saying everything that Rachel Zegler has done, they don't know how to combat it. So they're throwing their hands up, they're giving up, they're walking away, take the L, and we have evidence of that. So the first one is Disney reportedly doesn't know what to do with out of control Rachel Zegler. That is used quite a bit, actually. As the Snow White promotion falls apart, when was it ever together? That's one of the biggest things. That's the biggest question, and exactly why we know that this is going to fail. This is going to fail. Now, what is the biggest flop that they've had recently as far as something that should be this big? Probably Little Mermaid. Yeah, it's going to tank even more than that. The Snow White disaster keeps getting worse, and according to Page Six, Disney executives have been struggling to rein in Rachel ZeggyWeggy, describing her as out of control and refusing to listen to direct requests from company higher ups. She just can't stop. And more than like she can't stop, Disney, in a last ditch effort, are now having select influencers interview her rather than traditional press outlets because, she can't keep her mouth shut. She'll get poked in the wrong way and she'll go off on something and say something absolutely wild. They also haven't fired her. I find this funny as well. They haven't fired her for her social media posts. So this is actually going to look bad on Bob Iger with the Gina Carano lawsuit coming up. But that's a topic for another time. And they've been trying to control the narrative, avoid further controversy, but they can't reel her in. They just can't tame her. I guess it must be that half of her that's Latina. She's spicy. Insiders have told Page Six that Disney has tried multiple times to get her to tone down her controversial statements, but she refuses. And in a quote from them, Disney's lead actress is out of control. They don't know what to do. She's an outspoken 20-something, and Disney chiefs have called her directly and asked her to tone down her post. They've called her management, but she won't listen. Why? Because she's 20-something making millions of dollars. That's what happens when you don't earn it. A voice does not get you that much. You have to put in the work. Rachel Zegler has not put in the work. And that's why you get this spoiled brat mentality. Also a Gen Z mentality. I mean, not all of Gen Z is bad, don't get me wrong, but the TikTok generation, we see what comes from that. And it basically split down the middle, like some are cool and some are just batshit insane. The source went on to reveal that Zegler's political outburst, particularly insistence on tying her activism directly to the promotion of Snow White, has made the situation even worse. And that's something that I talked about also. It's like you can have these crazy takes, or some people actually agree with those takes. You can have these takes not while you're promoting a film that reflects on the film that you're trying to sell to audiences. Whatever you do in your personal time, whatever you do on your own private, or not private, but personal social media, whatever you do and say there should have nothing to do with the work that you're putting out for the public to pay for. But she doesn't know the difference. It's been this way the entire way through filming. But it's the tying for politics to Snow White that is upsetting. Is that the only thing that's upsetting? Because now the latest spin is that, the feud between her and Gal Gadot, because she said the free Palestine stuff. And everyone should know by now that Gal Gadot was former Israeli army. And these remarks add fuel to the fire that has surrounded Zegler for years from her dismissive comments about the original 37 film. Yeah, it's not 1937 anymore. She's not going to be saved by some prince. It's about something different. Aggressive political rants, especially with the changing of the guard, shall we say, in the White House. There's just too much to be controlled by public relations. That's basically what we're getting down to on this. And funnily enough, because I have another story to tell you right now, and it just came out recently. Yeah, it appears that she still can't keep her mouth shut, firing back directly at a tweeter, a commenter, based on the Tokyo. I think it was Tokyo. We're going to see it here in this story. But she has broken her silence because they've kind of like kept her on lockdown. They had the duct tape over her mouth, but not about the massive controversies surrounding Snow White. Instead, she chose to fire back at a social media commenter, questioning her vocal abilities, questioning it, or just razzing her a little bit, completely sidestepping the backlash over her past statements, the film's radical changes, and Disney's ongoing PR struggles. Now, this is the comment right here. Oh, it was the Spain one. It wasn't, it wasn't the Tokyo one. She performed Waiting on a Wish. That's what she's been doing to try to keep her out of American media spotlight. And it's funny. It's also funny that where she performed it was in front of the real life inspiration for the castle in the original film. They are doing everything they can to actually, appear to be true to the original 1937 Snow White. But she just can't help herself. So when Disney shared a clip of the performance on Instagram, someone just said, "No thanks. Disney wasn't so difficult to cast a soprano." There's a sick in there because there was a typo. That's all it was. It was as harmless as that. I've seen way worse. I could say way worse off the top of my head, but I'm not going to do it right here because we've got the story to say. Rather than ignoring the remark, obviously, Zegler saw it. She felt some way about it. And she snapped back with a self-promotional response. "I am a soprano. West Side Story is now streaming on Disney Plus. She thought she was doing good." This is her way of thinking that she saved the argument. West Side Story was a complete failure. It was a complete bomb. That's the only reason why anybody knows you in the first place. Otherwise, you just would have been one of those YouTubers who sings. Great. You could have had a following. You could have said everything that you actually feel. Had these crazy things. You could have been Pokimane, basically, a singing Pokimane, if you wanted to be, if you had chosen that route. But no, you decided to go into Hollywood, and Hollywood is way more strict, and it has way more eyes on it rather than just a niche group. So while she won a Golden Globe for her role as a Maria in West Side Story, the film itself couldn't even make the budget back without the box office split. Oh no, cry some more. This marks one of the first times Zegler has directly engaged with criticism in months. However, months before that, she directly engaged all the time. And instead of addressing the major issues fans have had with Snow White, her past comments and all this other kind of stuff, no, it was just to defend herself. It wasn't to defend the film that's about to come out. It was to defend a past film and herself. Classic narcissism. And this article actually goes into how a narcissist's mission and how narcissists handle criticism. Yes, they always turn it back on themselves to make themselves look good. It's very hard for those kind of people to take criticism because they think that they can explain it away. Now, I myself, little secret, I like to argue. I can also admit whenever I'm wrong and know when to shut the fuck up when I should shut the fuck up. She can't. I guess you push too many buttons and they just go over the edge rather than secluding themselves from all of the backlash and all of the hatred and just the crazy people on the internet. We are one of them, and so are you. No, they don't know how to sequester themselves away in any way. They have to go in balls blazing. And I just thought that was a goofy little thing that came out. I was like, oh, she's still doing it. They can't put a leash on her. They can't put a rein on her. They cannot tie her hands behind her back. Well, they could tie her hands behind her back, but they can't shut that dadgum mouth up. It's always good content fodder, and it's always something to laugh at. Is anyone even going to go see Snow White? I know I'm not. I'm not even going to see it just to laugh at it. It's just not. It's nowhere in my purview. But what I do want to do is laugh at Rachel Zegler, ZeggyWeggy, and everything that she keeps continuing to do to destroy her career. Next scene on an infomercial on HGTV. This is Malty from Mouth of Malty. Y'all have a great day. Appreciate you spending the time with me. And take care. Bye-bye.